Hi everyone. How is everyone today after all these crazy things? Please use the comment to say a hi or like something like that. That would be really good. So it's been more than 2 days. Yesterday I didn't come here due to some issues and right. So day before we looked into CSS, and in that partial session which we had, like kind of like um, I my internet, most of the people's internet connections got messed up, and also we've got our Zoom service not working. So we had a partial session, and I tried asking if you all have any questions, and it looks like most of them have got a good understanding of responsive. Yeah, a lot of I can understand a lot of people are exhausted after this back-to-back sessions, but it's kind of like a huge knowledge, like well, right? So that's, oh my God, that's InternWell. That's what we do, right? All right. So yeah, I felt that everyone has got a clear clear understanding of CSS responsive design, why we are using it, and what all things are required in that, right? So now today we will be getting introduced to something called JavaScript. So how many of you? I just wanted to know how many of you have not. Oh wow! So you all have also attended college lectures. That's still more stressful, guys. Okay, I can completely understand your situation and scenario, so I can feel it, bro. Okay, so how many of you don't know what JavaScript is? Can you all use the chat to let me know who all don't know what JavaScript is? Just those people alone. Okay, so Pranav doesn't know. Anup, Om Bansal. Wow. Okay. For now, I guess it's just three of us. Akanksha. Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. So JavaScript is a language for the web. So most of them use JavaScript as a, something like a complement to HTML and CSS. So it's like something like it started as a client script, and now it's people are using a lot. Okay. So right now let's see how important is JavaScript. So in web technology, JavaScript's importance can be determined from the fact that it is currently used by around like almost 95% of all the websites you see. So as a client-side programming language, JavaScript helps web developers to make web pages in a dynamic nature and interactive by implementing custom client-side scripts. So at the same time, the developers are can also use cross-platform runtime engines, like for example Node.js, to write server-side code and code in JavaScript. The good part about it is they can combine JavaScript, HTML, CSS, everything to create web pages in a combined way, and it looks that can be made to look really good across all the devices. As I was saying you yesterday, you have like literally a lot number of devices. For example, I have this phone. It's an Android phone. There could be an iPad. There could be a smart watch. So every single device can have their own web browser running, and they are all internet IoT, they say, Internet of Things and stuff like that. So every single device here will be can be connected to internet, and they can start, you know, interacting with the internet, do a lot of things, and uh, you can do a lot of things, right? So and this is one good news why we are supposed to use we learning JavaScript is really good. There are also a number of reasons why each modern web developer should know, must know how to leverage the benefits of JavaScript, because JavaScript was originally designed as a client-side scripting language. So it runs on your browser. A large percentage of websites are all even now use JavaScript as a client-side programming language. And uh, the beautiful part about JavaScript is the web developers can easily write custom client-side scripts in JavaScript and integrate it with the HTML as well. And they can also further use it to make the web pages very interactive. And you might have seen a lot of things like, for example, if you write your name and press OK or something like that, it pops up your name, and it actually changes the whole page. Like, for example, when you do something, it shows a different page. When your friend does something, it shows a different page. It's like that. It will be like very much catered to you, something like that. So they can also do something based on the since it's running on the client side, it the reaction will be very instant. So it responds to the users instantaneously. And also, um, since we have been using something like client server technology, so you go to a browser and you type in a website, and then it what exactly happens, the browser is the client, right? Your web browser like Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, any other website, web browsers you might have used. So these are the three main websites, like the three major things. So in these three websites, three web browsers, what they do is they are client side applications. When you type in Microsoft Edge and Microsoft Internet Explorer are almost similar, brother. So it's the same thing. So okay, let's consider Edge as the next browser as well. So Edge actually uses Chrome's rendering engine, and there is also Apple users are using Safari, and on iOS, even in phones, there is something like an Android web browser, etc. There are like multiple web browsers, and all these web browsers, how they work. So you type in a kind of like a web address and then press enter. What it does is the web browser talks to the server. So between that, there is another protocol that is gonna work for you. It is called DNS or ARP protocol, which is address resolution protocol. I'll send you a video in the WhatsApp group, or maybe I'll send it later in some time, which will explain you what exactly happens when you click on the link and press enter. So that would be a nice animation. That is actually a superb thing. And yeah, actually, I'll send you the name. It is called as the dawn of the web. It's really nice. And also you have to look at other. I'll send you the other thing, which is called how DNS works. These are the two videos which I will be sending in sometime. All right. So the next thing is, we can easily, as a web developer, we can um, so main reason why we are using JavaScript is, yeah, domain name server is DNS. That's domain name server, not exactly domain name server, domain name system. And yeah, if you have a look at those two videos, they are really nice. And Amog, we will be working on towards creating an awesome web application, which is what is the ultimate end goal of this whole course. Okay, so that will be done using JavaScript or React. And yeah, so I was talking about how web developers can easily write custom client side code, right? So in that way, you can also integrate the scripts by doing a lot more than talking to the servers. So for example, whenever you want to open up a website, what it does is you open up the web browser, you type in the web address and press enter. What it does, as a client, the browser goes to the and talks to the server computer, and then fetches the HTML, CSS, JavaScript assets, etc. So it is actually nice. Yes, yes, Prince. DNS is the phone book of IP addresses. Exactly. So that's exactly a good definition. Thanks. So it does a DNS lookup. DNS lookup is like you take a there is this big book called DNS, which is the phone book of IP addresses. It has a lot of IP addresses arranged by names. So let's say if you are putting google.com or internwell.com or praveen.science, something like that, it goes to that phone book. It finds where exactly internwell.com is there. Oh, here is internwell.com. What is the corresponding IP address? It is 104.25 2 dot something like that. So it talks to that computer on port number 80. There are two ports it's going to talk to, either port number 80 or port number 443. It is very similar to how you go to a house and you open a door. The house is the server here and the door is the port number here. So common port numbers for HTTP, that is without a security website, is port number 80. And for the computer, for a website which has this lock icon, right, there is a small lock in the address bar. So that particular protocol is called HTTPS protocol, which is a secure protocol, the secure version of the normal websites. Most of the companies are trying to put HTTPS websites nowadays. Even we InternWell, we have got HTTPS like last week, which is awesome. We get a green lock and it doesn't say not secure or anything like that, which is really good, right? So talking about those things, it is just extra added layer of security. That's the main thing. And so Ionic can also be used for web apps creations. Ionic is just a framework, brother. Okay, we will come to web apps later. So this way, any changes that we do from the client side, it's gonna talk to the server and come back. So it's gonna be a huge call, right? So instead of doing that, the best way we can do is, what if JavaScript is an interactive language? Yes, it is an interactive language. And you try to type something, or you try to, like, talk to the HTML page, and if it immediately gives you a response without even contacting the server, it would be nice, right? So this is what JavaScript starts doing in the initial attempts. So it is without any server interaction, and this way the server load can also be reduced. Let's say a good example: you are registering an account in any of these companies, like for example Google account or Yahoo account or anything. So obviously you are going to put a username and password, right? um, or in any of these registration fields, you are putting an email address. For the email address, it needs to be at least an at symbol and a dot symbol should be there, and the dot symbol should come after the at symbol. So this one, you don't need a server side script to verify whether the given email is a right email or not. This can be verified on the client side, and you can immediately get the response from the browser itself. This is a good way of doing it, right, without putting the load on the server. So this is one of the major uses of JavaScript nowadays. Now Preet, you want to say something? All right, I guess it was a mistake. Fine. So yeah, continuing. So this is one of the main reasons called validations for the basic items. For example, if you are giving a name, you need to give a name, not a number. These kind of validations. And if you are giving a phone number, you need to do a number validation, not a name. You cannot add, you know, any alphabets to it or something like that. And at the same time, email address validations. These kind of validations can be as simple as checking the length of the string, or can be a bit complicated using regular expressions. Regular expressions are regex, they say. Okay, regex is the short name of regular expressions. Thanks, Kanha. And these regex are bit complex to use at the first place. You can check with whether this contains a word, whether it contains number of words. What else is there? Like, is there anyone who can explain regular expressions in a simple way here? They can unmute and then can talk. This is a good chance for you guys. Someone can come and talk right now. Anyone, would you like to talk about what regex? I guess some people know what regex is. I'm not in a position to explain it in a basic way.
It's a regular expression, right?
Yes, that's regular expression, Jaga.
So whatever you study in engineering or your electronics subject in engineering or your science degree, regular expression, how you form.
Okay, not
Computer
exactly.
language, the same thing used, but it is evaluation of what we studied in basic electronics, or like there is a basic processors and regular expressions used in processors and all those things, and that is involved in our computer language to calculate any format and parsing and parsing the string using regex and like validating any kind of emails or any kind of string.
Yeah, that's almost like, yeah, that's a good way of explanation.
Maybe good way of uh, theoretical definition. I'm not sure, but you just add on if I'm
Yeah.
something wrong with,
So Kanha says like regex are simple sequences of characters with a pattern. So it is technically a pattern matching, which is like
okay,
spot on.
okay, yeah, I think that's the right definition.
Right. So it's a pattern matching algorithm. You can use it as a pattern matching thing. So what is an email? Email is a pattern with you have a word which may contain a few things, and then there is an at. Then there is some kind of words, at least 3 characters in the length, and then we have another out of that there should be at least one dot. So this is how the pattern should be. And Kanha, you have been spot on. You could have actually come up and talked. That would have been nice. We would all have heard from you in your own voice. All right. So these kind of things, you don't need a server side call to check and validate whether this given data is correct or not. These things can be pushed to the client side itself. This way the browser does the work and quickly gives you the response. Like if you give something funny other than email, it could immediately say that, hey, what you have given is not an email format. Can you add an at and a dot in the content, and the dot should come after at and stuff like that. So that can be done on the client side. So this way you kind of like reduce the server side load as well. So this is a good way of like a best way a good way of using um, JavaScript. Anyway, when you're new to something, what you usually do, you usually search for definitions and end up in Wikipedia, right? In JavaScript case, you might end up with more questions than you come up with. If you go if It's like a mix of things. JavaScript is like a mix of things. So what should I say? Like um, you'll be hearing a lot, you'll be reading a lot about JavaScript, and it says like it's a client-side programming language, which is actually true. But it's also kind of like it is not the complete picture of JavaScript. For now, let's say JavaScript is a tool for web developers to add the interactivity to the websites, like whatever we have just discussed. So the browser requires 3 things for allowing you to consume this content. Number one, HTML. The HTML is what we were doing for the past 1 week, and that gives you the markup, the structure of the website. The CSS will style it, whether you want it in black color, white color, blue color, the text color, font sizes, this font, that font, those kind of things will be given by CSS. And then JavaScript comes and it makes the website to come to life. That is exactly JavaScript about. This all looks like it sounds straightforward, but trust me, there are like loads and loads of things about JavaScript. We will start slowly, like by going through what exactly JavaScript is, how 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 we can make it better, and how can we use that, learn that from the basics, and then try to create a integrate it into a website and stuff like that. This is what we are going to do today. All right. So let me quickly have a look at the comments. So okay, we have an awesome question from Jaga. Why IE browser is not popular these days? Why everyone is using Chrome or Firefox? How these are better than age-old IE? Jaga, you gave the answer in your question itself. You said that it is age-old technology, right? When did React come? 5 years ago. when did IE die? 5 years ago. So the technology started when the browser got dead. Like, for example, Internet Explorer 6, that's one of the browsers that's been still used in banks and other places. And that browser, I don't think, leave Internet Explorer 6, even if it is Internet Explorer 8. Around 5 years ago, they said, like, we are stopping the support for Internet Explorer 8 from officially from Microsoft. Everyone is urged to use Internet Explorer 9 and beyond because it supports the modern frameworks. It is just that it is not updated with the modern stuff. So I'm asking the same question to you, Jaga. Now let's say, yes, Om, you raised your hand.
Sir, according to me, that people why not use I browser so that it is not a secured browser.
I was about to come there. What I was trying to say is, um, so even before whether it is secure or not, it is actually not updated, upgraded. So let's say you have a antivirus software, you will be updating it every day, right? So what will happen if you don't upgrade or update an antivirus software after like couple of years? For let's say we are not updating our antivirus softwares for about like 5 years. So for the past 5 years, there would have been a lot of security issues might have happened. A lot of new viruses might have developed. This antivirus software will still think, um, uh, let's think about any new, coronavirus is not a virus at all. It is actually another cell. That's what this antivirus software will think. It doesn't know that coronavirus is really a virus, right? It's the same thing with browser as well. Internet Explorer doesn't even know that there are so many.
Sir,
Uh,
but some people are not have Wi-Fi on their home. They use the mobile hotspot with the computer to
Bro,
use
mobile
internet.
hotspot and all you are talking about, right? The Internet Explorer died even before that. IE6 I am talking about. So those computers, see, obviously, even if you have Wi-Fi or not, they are all available as offline downloads as well. It is very important that you have to see. Another thing is only for people who are trying to consume the latest websites, they might be requiring the latest things. Like for example, let's say we have created an application using React JS and the awesome latest modern technologies. For those kind of uh, users, you need to use your latest browser. And most of the things that require your latest browsers, they require internet as well, that to a strong internet. If you have a normal strong internet, you can immediately update your browser. It's not about updating as well. Again, now it comes to another major part. For example, right now a lot of software do not support anything beyond Windows 10. Do you know that? Like Windows 8 is not supported in some software. Some software require at least Windows 10, something like that.
Sir,
Uh,
yes.
so it is a case of that. And yeah, so another thing from InternWell says that no more development and patches. Yes, that's another true thing. So if you want something to be updated and upgraded, something needs to be supporting the latest trends and technologies. Obviously you need the updated version for it. So that's where the main problem is there. So for example, React is just on the market for the past 5 years, but Microsoft has stopped developing IE7 like 6 or 7 years ago. So Internet Explorer 7 will not be able to even read that JavaScript and then process it, right? So if you want to use the latest technologies, you need to go with the latest browsers. That's the main reason Internet Explorer is not even considered as a browser by any of the developers. Let's say we are all developing a web application. What is the basic thing we need to see in order to give a what do you call this? In order to develop the web application, the browser, which is going to be the end part, it needs to support us in like I need to inspect the element, I need to put a lot of things and see how it works and stuff like that, right? So any new software can behave like a old software, but not all old software can behave like a new software, right? The new software knows how the old software behaves. So that's the main reason Internet Explorer hasn't been upgraded or updated. Now they have completely ditched Internet Explorer to Edge. So nowadays only Edge is popular, and even Edge, what they are doing is, you need to know something about this layout engines and rendering engines. Let's talk about rendering engines today. So rendering engines, if you take Mozilla Firefox, Firefox uses a Gecko based rendering engines. If you take Safari, it uses WebKit based rendering engine. If you take Chrome, it's gonna use Blink called as rendering engine. And if you go for Edge, it is actually it had something called as Trident as rendering engine, and they removed it. Now they are going behind Blink, which is what is the main rendering engine behind Chrome. And this one is actually going for this one is actually powered by a JavaScript engine called V8, which is what is powering Node.js as well. So Node.js, Google Chrome, these two browsers and these two technologies are actually using a JavaScript interpreter called V8 JavaScript engine. And Mozilla Firefox uses SpiderMonkey, if I'm right. And our very own Internet Explorer uses a JavaScript rendering engine called Chakra. So these are the different rendering engines, and these are the different JavaScript engines. There are a few more questions from the people. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Microsoft no longer provides security updates and or technical support for old versions of Internet Explorer. So yes, and with respect to the support of HTML5 and CSS3, Internet Explorer actually supports like most of them. For example, you all you need to do is something called as polyfill. Let's say the new technology, HTML5 concepts. You have like headers, you have footers, you have articles, you have sections, you have aside, you have nav. These are the most common uh, tags in HTML5, right? So these HTML5 tags, if you want them to be supported on Internet Explorer, what you can do is you just need to use a polyfill for them, and then you just need to connect with them. That's it, as simple as that. But the only problem is who is going to do the polyfill, and who is going to do the polyfill for an old version of a site. And just bear in mind, we are getting fat, the clients fatter and fatter in order to make our server side processes lesser and other things. So people don't write a lot of code to support like age old browsers like Windows 95 and Windows 3.1. Who is even using those things? Also, that is also another reason. Number of people who are using Internet Explorer 6 is far less than how much people are actually using it. Like for example, we've got like what do you call this, 0.1%, less than 0.01% of uh, users who are using IE6, and most of the IE6 users come from the like the old versions of bank applications. Any bank you go, you will see an Internet Explorer system, and it doesn't mean that it is not secure or anything, but it is just that they have legacy systems and they are not connected to internet, so they are kind of safe. Obviously, they need to get updated and upgraded. As long as those systems work, they are not planning to invest money on them. As simple as that. Right. So let's go for the next one. Microsoft have shifted to Edge. That's why they are forgetting about IE. And you know what? Edge is also going behind Chrome. So they are using Blink. There are news articles that say that they are going to use Blink as the rendering engine, and in Blink you won't be able to it is exactly the Chrome, Chrome's rendering engine. So in real feel, you won't be able to find any difference between Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge in this case. um, and I've got a private message from someone saying like there is a compatibility solution and should only be used, and that is actually, it is from a Microsoft security chief saying that IE is not a browser. That's what I've been saying for the past few days. So yeah, IE is definitely not a browser right now at this point. And right, Prince has a question. Can we download a whole web page using inspect element sources section from Chrome? You can actually do that, but there is a small headache that's there, but definitely you can do that. And instead of doing the sources, there is something called as HTTP archive. If you go to the network tab, it actually pulls out all the network information, whichever site is being accessed and stuff, and then you can actually rebuild the whole site in locally. And actually, I have also written an article about it in my blog. Uh, Good luck finding it. I don't want to give that off right now here. So yeah, that's one thing. All right. So let's continue. And now we will be looking into JavaScript as a language. All right. So JavaScript, as far as now, we just learned three things. Number one, it powers more than 95% of the whole um, internet. And second thing is JavaScript is really important because it can be used for client side as well as server side. And predominantly JavaScript is gonna be used in the client side by most of the companies, most of the applications, because JavaScript originally started as a client side language and then it has gone to a server side language now. So it is going to be a full stack language. It would be so super cool that if your complete stack, let's say you have your, so generally when we talk about stacks, we talk about applications that's going to be using different levels of tiers, right? So 3-tier architecture, 2-tier architecture, etc. So one example of 1-tier architecture is your operating system. Your operating system lies in your hardware, hard disk, and then you just switch it on. You are not connected to any of the other things. You're just switching it on. You're working on it. You're switching it off. Everything is done. Everything is there in this monolith, right? So that is a single tier architecture. And there are some places where you're using 2-tier architectures. Like for example, you go to a ATM machine. ATM machine is one big dabba that has a small opening where you are going to put your card. What happens is immediately it talks to the bank, whichever bank you are putting the card from. It's going to talk to the bank saying that this card has been got. So there are like two entities acting here. So one is the bank, that is the server, and your ATM machine, that is the client. It is a client server architecture, and this is called as a thin client architecture, they say. This thin client means there is nothing there in your that dabba. It does have just the money here, all the authorization, authentication, your name, your address, your details, everything is going to come from the bank. So this is a 2-tier architecture or a client server architecture. Nowadays what we are doing is we are working on 3-tier architectures. There is a presentation layer, there is a business layer, there is an access layer. These three layers are called as 3-tier architectures. And the first layer, the presentation layer, is where we will be mostly working, looking at things, and the look and feel is there in the presentation layer. The presentation layer will maximum consist of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's what we see, and that's what Chrome sees or any of the web browsers will see. That is the presentation architecture, presentation layer. Let's say application layer or the business layer or the logic layer. This is programming layer. This is the second layer. This has a server side software. It could be Nginx, it could be Apache, it could be um, it could be Lightspeed server, any of these. It could be Node server, any of these servers with a programming language with it. It could be PHP, it could be Ruby on Rails, it could be what do you call this? Java, J2EE, it could be EJB or something like that, ASP.NET. And there are like hundreds and thousands of programming languages that could get into the, sorry, excuse me, that could get into the application layer. And then we have got the final layer, which is the access layer. An access layer will contain all the data about the application. The access layer will be comprising mostly of a database server, whether it could be one single master database server, or there could be a database server with a slave attached to it, or multiple slaves attached to it, something like that. So The examples of some database servers are, it could be a Microsoft SQL server, it could be a MySQL server, it could be a MariaDB server, it could be PostgreSQL server, it could be um, Oracle server. Oracle is a database, and it could be MongoDB as well. So we have got like these three tiers, right? What if, how cool it will be if we are having one single language. For example, in the front end we are using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In the and let's talk only about the programming languages in the three tiers. So the front end will be JavaScript, the back end will be like, let's say, programming language will be PHP or Ruby or Java or .NET or something like that, or maybe even Node.js also works. Or, and the third layer will be database, which has something like Microsoft SQL server and MySQL server or something like that. And in this case, how cool it will be if we have all these three servers, three areas containing JavaScript. So let's say we have React on the front end, or any kind of JavaScript, React.js or Angular.js on the front end. And then we have on the middle, the programming layer, let's say we are using Node JavaScript, Node.js, Express.js. This is going to be the middle part. Then on the data layer, what if it is going to be MongoDB, which is again JavaScript. So JavaScript can act as a complete full stack application. So if you are going into web development, JavaScript is so important, and this is the importance of JavaScript. And there are like trends coming up with other languages getting down, and the best languages that can go up are Python, Java, and JavaScript. These are the three languages that they are still taking the first three, or maybe .NET can come, Ruby on Rails might come, but top two, at least the top two will be Python and JavaScript. The reason why I said Python is not beatable is Python is mainly used for a lot of data analytics and artificial intelligence, web scraping, machine learning, everything Python is used. And why are we behind? JavaScript also coming up with a thing called TensorFlow and other things. They are right now connected to Python as a backend, but they are gonna be using um, they are gonna be on the standalone way as soon as possible. And for web scraping, Python is being the best as of today. But still, even JavaScript can be used because JavaScript is no better than Python. Like it's becoming better and better and better day by day. So as I said you before, change is the only thing that doesn't change. JavaScript completely embraces it. Yesterday, whatever JavaScript you saw will be today voided. So it's that level of quick and fast progression is happening in JavaScript. So this is the basic idea and basic motivation behind why we need to learn JavaScript. Any questions, guys? Is everything clear, or do you have any questions at this point? Okay, so I couldn't find any questions right now. So let's go ahead and start kind of like working on JavaScript. All right. So let me open. We will be starting to, okay, what JavaScript framework can we use for front end? So JavaScript frameworks, there are like multiple JavaScript frameworks that we can use for front end. We have React.js, we have Angular.js, we have Vue.js, we have Ionic, we have without any frameworks also we can use JavaScript in front end. Like Vanilla.js, we can use that directly. Everyone mostly are using Vanilla.js and they're like working with that. And Django is Python, by guys. It's not a front end framework. It's a back end framework. Anything else? Anything else? Would you like? Would someone would like to say? Any front end frameworks? Front end JavaScript frameworks? Which is best? Uh, that's a good question. It also depends on the project that you are doing. It also depends on the team. It also depends on your experience as well. For example, if you ask me, I would completely blindly say I will go for React JS. Other than that, I don't know. See, the main reason is I don't have any idea about Vue.js and what was the other thing? AngularJS. AngularJS, I'm completely zero with it. You see, React.js has this nice learning curve, whereas AngularJS will have a steep learning curve, which is very tough to catch up with, and you need to know a lot of things. Like it's literally tough. That's what I felt. It's my opinion. And Amog, Redux is a library in JavaScript. It is mainly used with almost all these reactive JavaScript frameworks for state management. It is not a framework as such. And JavaScript framework, when you say it is, again, Vue.js and React.js are not frameworks. Only we can say AngularJS is a framework. Um, Actually, I'm I'm on a mistake in that case. So I shouldn't have included React and Vue. So there is only one JavaScript framework that I know. It is AngularJS. Others are JavaScript libraries. Like for example, even jQuery is a JavaScript library, which we generally use it for DOM manipulation and animations and other things. It's super cool to work with jQuery and other things. So other than that, I don't think I have any idea about other JavaScript frameworks. There are a lot of CSS frameworks. Like for example, we have Material Design, we have Bootstrap, we have Tailwind, and we did talk about these CSS frameworks last time, like Bulma, when we were talking about responsive designs. So that's there. And apart from that, I don't think there is anything else. Any other questions, guys? Or shall we just directly go into the demo? We can just start like working on a small demo where we can work with a JavaScript, like the basics of JavaScript, how we can start working with Node.js as a JavaScript. That's what was the plan today. I'll give you another 1 minute because I'm feeling it very bad here. There is React Bootstrap as well. Yeah, Bootstrap, I would prefer using the normal CSS alone and not using React Bootstrap, because I completely like have the whole idea of all the classes in my mind. So I just prefer using Bootstrap CSS along with the class names given in React JS. If you have seen my I'll just show you my coding style and other things with whatever I have got. Maybe in another session, I'll just get those things up and running. And in that, you could have clearly seen that I have used all the Bootstrap classes, but not React Strap. React Strap is there. That's one more library that is gonna be like a combination of Bootstrap and React JS. But yeah, for starters, for people who are new to it, React Strap and React Bootstrap definitely makes it easy. All right, guys, let's start looking into how we can create a new Node.js application and start running it. Okay, so let me share my screen in a few minutes. All right, so now let me share my screen. Please let me know if you are able to see the screen. I've got a terminal running on me, and I've got a, yeah, sure. Unfortunately, I don't have any water around me, so it's a bit tough. All right, I'll try to manage. Right, so we've got this one, right? Okay, so No, I'm feeling it bit hard. So all right, so let's go for this. So we've got this particular page. Let me create a new JS demo folder. All right, so in the JS demo, we need to start with a Node.js project. For starting a Node.js project, all we need to do is we need to do something called npm init. NPM is for Node Package Manager. So Node Package Manager is mainly helping you to package an application and make sure all the dependencies are given here. You don't need to like look into add dependencies and other things. It all be managed by the Node Packaging Manager. So let's start with this. If you do this one, it will give you this utility will walk you through creating a package.json file, which is the main package file. Okay, so npm will be looking at package.json file to check and install the packages and other things. And here there are like loads and loads of different um, stuff. Guys, just give me 1 second. I'll just quickly have some water and be back. Sorry guys, I'm back. I'm back. So right. So right now what we are oops, I'm not sure what happened. Okay, so right now what we are doing is, let's say we need to create a new, npm package here. So at this point, we will be using npm for npm with the init command. That's gonna help us in creating this new package. All right. So right now we have given the package name as JS demo. It's gonna actually give you all the default values by itself. So package name, do you want to put JS demo? Yes. Version 1.0? Yes. Just keep pressing enter. Description, I don't want to write any description, or like maybe we can just put demo JS stuff and press enter. Entry point is going to be index.js. I would say app.js. Then test command is going to be nothing for now. Git repository, nothing. Keyword, demo. Author, let's say InternWell. And license ISC, who cares? So I'm just gonna put who cares. Oh, okay. So I guess it should be like it should have a license reference. So let's put ISC here. And then is this okay? Yes, it says, and yes. And now if I try to open this on our Visual Studio Code, which is our ultimate thing, it's gonna show us with one single file, which is package.json. Obviously I want to put this as stuff, so let's do. So this way a basic package file has been created right now. All we need to do now is we need to create a start script, and this main script is in the app.js, right? So let's create an app.js. So we just create an app.js here and then save it here. All right, now in this point, whatever we write here, it's going to be executed by this particular Node.js. So let's say if I put console.log, and whose name should I add here? Someone say yes, like someone volunteer. Okay, Avinash. So if I save this and then try to run npm start, I don't think this works actually, but I'll try this out. See, there is a missing start script. That's fine. So if I try using node and then app, notice here you don't need to create .j. You don't need to specify .js here. So if I just put node app, it's gonna tell me Abhinash Kumar. So this is some a good way like we can make it run. Okay. And before that, the best way to do it is you need to use a package.json with a start script. So there are like so many scripts here available, which in all these things will go with the start script, which is going to be node app. And then if I save this, and then if I try doing npm start, it's gonna run the node app, and then it's gonna tell me the script name is, the output is Avinash Kumar. All right. Now what we are gonna do is, if we go to our app.js, and every time when we change something, we need to keep running npm start. It's something like whenever you change your browser, whenever you change your code, you need to go to the browser and click on the refresh button. Instead of that, we can do something like automatically it should refresh based on if we have changed anything. So that would be cool, right? So what we can do is we can install a package. Again, here comes the packages. We can install a package called Node Mon, which is which is a Node.js server which monitors all the changes, and then based on that, it's gonna show you a different output. So right now, what we are going to do is we are going to install Node Mon, and you can use npm install for the command. It's going to be npm install Node Mon, and then once we install it, it takes a long time like this, and then it creates a huge bulk thing called as node modules and package lock.json. These two files will have a lot of lines in it, which says what happened, what did we install, how many things are installed. Look at this. Just for one single package, we have installed a lot of different packages. And then now inside the package.json, you could find that there is a dependency called node mod. This is all these things are automatically done for you. Now instead of starting script using node, if we put node mon here and save it, and then if you go to here, clear everything and give a npm start, it's gonna do node mon start, and it's gonna be like node mon started. And all you need to do is it's gonna watch all the extensions of js, mjs, json, etc., and it is also watching all the paths from here. So let's say Prince has actually given our second you know so I'm gonna put his name here, and then if we save this, restarting due to changes, and it starts the node app.js, and it's gonna tell your name again. So this is one of the coolest way which we can use. Like if there is any changes that's been done, it's gonna quickly do something. So if I put my name again here, and if I save it, it's gonna show me that uh, it has changed and starting the node app, and then it gives you a different output. This is the basic setup of Node.js in your system. So most probably next session we will be looking a lot of demos here, and then we will go with a lot of questions and other things. Just last few seconds, like I need to leave for a meeting in 2 minutes. So any other questions that you have got, like do you want me to answer, like for the last 2 minutes? And plus I have been talking continuously for about an hour, so I'm not able to like continue. So I hope today's session was really good. I haven't got any questions as of now. So um, hey host, are you still here? Okay, what FTP client do you use for website updation? Bro, FTP is like age-old story. Nowadays, I don't think anyone is using FTP. I'm using Git, and I just put a Git push, and then there I will go and Git pull. That's how I update. Thanks, Ankit. Anyone else? Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not feeling that well. So let's finish our session today here, and then we can meet tomorrow again with a lot of questions in the first section. And I'll also send you those two videos which I promised, which is one of it is what do you call it? I've already got my next meeting invite, so I need to leave. So one of it is what was it again? Shit. The dawn of the web, the dawn of the net and how DNS works. I'll send you both. I'll send both the things, or else just give me 1 second. I'll send it in the Zoom chat itself. So for people who are not in, is there anyone who is not in the WhatsApp group? Do you want to say yes or something? Okay, looks like everyone is in the WhatsApp group. So how DNS works? It is an by center. Yep, I've got that one. So this is the first link, and the next one is the dawn of the net. It's by Ericsson, the old Sony company, the company that was bought by Sony now. All right, I'm not able to find. Oh, sorry, it's not new. I've got the dawn of the net link as well. So have a look at these two things and stay home, stay safe, and see you all tomorrow. All right. Keep messaging me in WhatsApp group and we can take it from there. See you all, guys. Bye bye.